Trade recap today, guys. Not a good day for me today. Pretty bad day. Lost $450. This is what my funded is looking like right now. $450 lost today. First two losses, well, I was fine with them. I risked correctly. They were very good setups. I was patient. I didn't trade off emotions. The final trade I took was still a good setup, but I should be limiting myself to 2 trades a day. And taking that third trade was obviously against my rules, so that's the only place I really messed up today that I could see for now. So coming onto the charts, I got on at about 2, which was here. I wanted to target this high, and then we had a unmitigated 4-hour gap above, which I thought would be a great draw of liquidity. We was manipulating away from true day open and then also manipulating to the downside, which obviously with 10 a.m. open and rejection block strategies, you want to see a manipulation in the opposite direction in the way you want to trade. So I saw manipulation to the downside, meaning I was going to look for a rejection block to be formed off a high time frame PD array to then long to 9:30 true day open, this draw of liquidity which was London high, and then this 4-hour gap. So we had lots of stacked up draws of liquidity above us. We had lots of confluence. We was manipulating to the downside. It was looking great. So right here with market open, we came down and swept a bunch of low resistance liquidity here, and then also swept a bunch of low resistance liquidity on ES as well. We then tapped into the CE of a large 15-minute gap as our PD array to reject from. Rejected out of the CE, created a rejection block, entered in right here, came up. I was going to go break even and take my partials at 9:30, the wick. Unfortunately then just got stopped out there. Wasn't too mad, pretty statistical loss because everything was looking very, very nice. Right here, second trade I took today. We came down. We had no more PD arrays to target down here. We swept out a bunch of low resistance liquidity. We then again, with just before 10 a.m, carried on manipulating to the downside, then created a 5-minute bullish rejection block, touched into the CE of it as well as OTE, rejected out of it, looking like a nice trade, and then we just dumped, stopped me out right away yet again. So those were the 2 losses of the day. I think the third trade I took, so I think it was this trade, then I got stopped out and re-entered, stopped out again. Then I waited for a further manipulation closer with 10 a.m, which was this. Then I got stopped out here. And then, I mean, these white lines were, because when I got on the charts today, I wasn't sure if I was going to be bullish or bearish because we were sitting around here. We was close to these highs, close to these lows. Lots of low resistance on either side. ES was definitely more bearish because we had all this low resistance liquidity. And then we also had, we had these low resistance liquidity. We had this 4-hour high and this, I think it was a daily 4-hour low and a daily low, sorry. I marked them all out because there was going to be potential draws of liquidity, and we ended up dumping and taking out all the draws of liquidity that I was looking for. But on NQ, there was not too much low resistance liquidity I wanted to target here, and I feel like we had way more confluence to come up. Like we had London highs, equal highs, low resistance highs, 4-hour fair value gap, manipulating to the downside, true day open above, 9:30 above. Buys were looking super good. Now an improvement point I think I could have made, so let me just delete everything here quick. If I scale down to the 1 minute and find 10 a.m. 10 a.m. is right here. We're manipulating down, which again, normally look, we've got all this low resistance liquidity. I would have thought we'd get a rejection block up, take out at least this high, and then maybe true day open, which is a bit above. But with 10 a.m, we've seen this before. It happened the other week on the 5 minute. This 5 minute with 10 a.m. open, we created a bearish rejection block. We tapped in to the CE of this 5 minute gap, created a rejection block, tapped into the rejection block, Got to put the stops right here. Targeted the draws of liquidity that I was looking at down here. Caught a 5 risk to reward. Then when we created this 5-minute gap, when we retested it and closed below, got to move stops to break even, or just at least to the CE of the rejection block. This was definitely a valid short to take with 10 a.m. open. 10 a.m. created the rejection block off of this 5-minute gap and sweeping some liquidity. This would have been a beautiful trade to take. I just did not see it because I was very bullish for the day. But if you was bearish for the day, I can see definitely some people took this. I just think it was a perfect manipulation to the downside to then reverse upwards with 10 a.m. But no, we did not get that today. So let's do a 2 improve. Number 1, I need to limit myself to 2 trades per day, because I did overtrade by 1 today, so I lost $450 when it normally would have been $300, which is about a 150 risk in 2 trades, which is normally what I do. So yeah. Other than that, I mean, it's just about maybe potentially knowing when to flip bias, because the 10 a.m. short was valid. However, everything made sense to be bullish. The only thing is that what I could have done, which I did keep on doing, so on the daily, we had this daily low, so that was like a kind of strong draw that I was potentially looking at. Obviously we've not hit that yet. This 4-hour low was, I thought this was a strong draw of liquidity, and then we was much closer to it. We was around here. I wasn't sure if it was going to come all the way back up to this. We also did have some 1-hour lows to target, like this. So, I mean, shorting with 10 a.m. to these draws of liquidity did make sense. Also, I think I just need to be more strict with establishing my bias, because if I head over to the 4-hour here, on the 4-hour, there was only one high that I really wanted to take, and that was quite far away. Head over to the 1-hour. There was no 1-hour highs to take other than this one, which is what we already have marked out. So market opened here. The next high is all the way up here. It would just make sense to create a new low and then keep on sweeping liquidity. I think that's where I went wrong, and I can see that being a big helping point, because 1 hour, there's actually no highs, which is clearly bearish. No signs of a retracement either, just because of all this confluence with 10 a.m. High time frame matters more. Clearly we are very bearish here, very, very bearish. So I think that's actually the main point of improvement for today on my part, I'm not gonna lie. So this is probably the most important one for me. Definitely establish bias better / properly. For example, like obviously the 4-hour and 1 hour hold more power than the lower time frames. Because yeah, now I'm looking back, there was no way we was coming. I mean, we did have the 4-hour gap, but still the most recent high on the 4 hour was here, and it was the same high on the 1 hour. Literally this was the most recent high on the 1 hour. So us being here at market open, did make sense to target this low and this low, because there's a much cleaner draw of liquidity. Even this low, everything was a lot cleaner to target actually. Now seeing that makes me feel a little bit better about the analysis, because although on the low time frame they were very clean trades, now I can see where I actually went wrong, and it was in my analysis of my daily bias. I can see how we was bearish today.